What's up, folks? This is Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards, and today, by viewer request, I will be doing some more Tales of Argosa solo play. If you haven't watched my other Tales of Argosa videos, I would encourage you to check them out as well. With my recent solo plays, I've taken a cue from the old Robert E. Howard Conan pulp stories, running my solo games as a series of loosely connected stories rather than a continual narrative. From a narrative standpoint, this better reflects those Adventure of the Week style tales and frees me up to experience more varied situations and parts of his career. Mechanically, it allows me to explore the character at different points in their level progression. Today, I will also be demonstrating another source of game inspiration. As a reminder, last time we used a board game. Today's game will be a loose conversion of a Shadowdark one-page dungeon by Kelsey Dionne. Sanctum of the Elephant God is clearly inspired by Howard's Tower of the Elephant, and it was designed for a party of 6th level Shadowdark heroes, but I will be using a single 7th level Tales of Argosa barbarian. That barbarian, of course, is Yorick, the barbarian from my prior video. I will be using enemies from the Tales of Argosa bestiary, trying to match up stat blocks as best I am able, and just keep rolling with the changes. I have the map drawn out already, as we are going to say Yorick received a crude and perhaps unreliable version from a former cultist that owed him a considerable gambling debt. This allows me to have the game ready to play while also explaining way Oracle shifts to the story. As a reminder, every level advance gives Tales of Argosa characters some hit points, a +1 to a single attribute, and whatever the class adds. Leveling Yorick from 3rd to 7th level gives him 8 extra hit points, plus any from bumping up his con score, +1 to his AC, a new skill, we went with acrobatics, a second attack, which will actually be a third due to the Lone Wolf solo rules, a second unique feature, and Killer Instinct, as well as increasing his base attack bonus to a +7. For his unique feature, I gave him Warrior of Renown, reflecting years of exploits and being the Serpent Slayer. You had to be there. Mechanically, it started out as a reskin of the Cultist Turn Undead ability, but after some redesign, it now just uses one of his rages for the day and requires a morale check for human opponents based upon the renown that he has for being a slayer of his enemies. If they fail the morale check, he can cause up to his level in characters to flee. As you can see, I've got my layout here. I've got my Tales of Argosa softback, which I've got marked here for all the different chapters I'm going to need. Got my dice tray here. I went ahead and wrote out the stats for the monsters I thought I was going to need based on the adventure. As I said earlier, I had the Sanctum of the Elephant God adventure from Kelsey Dionne's Shadowdark. You really should pick up these one-page adventures. They are awesome and they're very cheap. And then I did a loose drawing of that same map here on my Chessex battle map. This mat I've had for many, many years, probably 20 years, and it is probably the best investment I have made into gaming in general. It works for every game, and you can depict whatever you need to in a pinch. I do have my freshly painted Conan here, who is going to stand in for Yorick. And the rest of the miniatures are mostly these Arknight figure flats, which are depicting the various cultists and the commoners and the monsters. Though I do have an elephant from the Pathfinder minis as well, the flats for Pathfinder. I do have some gems on the table. These are super cheap. You can pick those up from a hobby store. And those represent where Yorick has been told that there would be treasure. So he knows that there are some gems in those different areas, if he's willing to risk his life to get them. And we're going to just kind of roll with this and see where it takes us. And I do have the Oracle deck for Tales of Argosa, which I believe you can order from the Game Crafter. And I've got the Oracle dice, also from Tales of Argosa, which you may or may not be able to get from the Game Crafter right now. I know there was some issues with getting the wooden dice printed. I don't know if you can still get these plastic dice printed or not at the Game Crafter. If you can, they're well worth it. If not, there is an online version of these dice through the 3D app, the 3D Dice app. You can find it on the Pickpocket Press website if you want to know how to get that. So, let's go ahead and get started with Yorick here. I guess there's one other thing that I need to mention. I rolled a completely random magical weapon. I thought he's 7th level. He might have found one by now. I'm calling it the Star Flail. It's just a flail, but it has the abilities Lightbringer and Fleet of Foot. So, once every 1 to 4 days, so probably once for this adventure, it can release a burst of light, blinding daylight. All creatures close are blind for 1 to 4 rounds. They can avoid that with a luck save based on their dex. It also has the Fleet of Foot, which he can move fast instead of normal speed, but if he does, he has to do a dark and dangerous magic check. That's his backup weapon, but he's going to be wielding his Cold Iron Greatsword in general unless I decide to swap it out. Not bad to have a backup either, though. Sorry, my reach here. I'm going to get that so I can read. So we'll read a little bit from the adventure. It says, the cultists of the elephant god lurk in their dark domain, murmuring prayers over a glut of riches. Rumors say the overlord has paid them a fortune in exchange for their wicked sorcery, and now the jewel of Alcala glitters in their coffers, a prize too tempting to ignore. And I think that basically Yorick was drinking and carousing between many of his great adventures, and his old friend Ogden ended up owing him a great debt while gambling. And Ogden is a master thief that once tried to infiltrate the cult and knows many of its secrets, but he escaped with his life and is unwilling to go back. But he gave all of his details to Yorick as a means of repaying the debt, or possibly trying to get Yorick killed so he won't have the ability to collect on that debt. We'll find out. So let's go ahead and start the game. And we are in this room here, and I'll kind of read a description. Low ceiling, walls of reflective black slate, 2 glistening mud statues of life-sized elephants kneeling beside stairs, trunks raised. They trumpet if creatures exit the room without a prayer to Yag-kesh, the elephant god. So I'm coming down these stairs, and I know that they're there, and I know, you know what? I'm going to ask the Oracle, did Ogden tell me about the prayer to Yag-kesh? Okay, so I got a no and a yes, but the tiebreaker was a yes, and I got good fortune. I think the good fortune is I actually remember the prayer. So I'm going to go ahead and say that, and so that will not raise the trumpet. Now, there are a couple of rubies buried in the chest of each statue. So I am going to attempt to steal one of these rubies here. And to do that, I'm going to use my athletics skill. And I have got a dagger in my battle gear, so I'm going to use that. So athletics is going to be based on strength in this case. So I've got a strength of 17, so I need to roll an 18 or less. So I got a 17, just barely. So I dig with my dagger and I pop out the ruby that is worth 120 gold. And I'm going to go over here and try the same. And it comes out a little bit easier as I kind of know better how to work around the statue, and I collect another ruby worth 120 gold pieces. So these have been collected. I can take them off the board now. And as I am doing my work here, trying to steal these rubies, I notice that there is an aroma, spicy incense. And so I need to roll a con check. So we're going to say, we're going to do athletics for this to see if I can resist. Actually, no, you know what? This is just going to be a save. So this will be a Constitution save, which is based on luck. My luck is a 14. My con is a +1. So I need to roll a 15 or less. Okay, so I got an 8. Good. So I made the check. So I'm not going to be susceptible to the poison gas. However, since I made a luck roll, my luck decreases by 1. So it goes from a 14 to a 13. That's how the luck works in Tales of Argosa. So your luck is quite literally running out. All right. So I am going to make my way ever so silently down the hallway. So let's make a stealth check here. I got a 6, which with my dex of 16, that is actually a great success. So I am extremely stealthy. I can get quite close without being detected right now. So I think what I am going to do is I'm going to kind of come down this hallway and just peek in and see what's going on with this, which I think Ogden kind of told me this was like a staging area for sacrifices. So this is the Hall of Petitioners. Incense-addled peasants kneel on dirty mats amid flickering candles droning for Yagkesh to take us into the herd. And there is a 1 in 6 chance per round that 2d6 cultists come to take one of them to the Ivory Maiden. So let's roll a d6, and if I get a 1, bad news. I got a 2. Okay, so they're not being taken away just yet. So they're just kind of entranced, and they're awaiting their captors to come and take them to the Ivory Maiden. That sounds not so good. So I don't really want to fight them. If I go past them, even though they are incense-addled, I think they might react at least enough to alert the others to my presence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn back around and go the other way. And so I know that Ogden told me that there was a gem in here if I was brave enough to go after it. And so that is what I'm going to try to do. So I go through the door, quietly opening the door. And let's go ahead and roll another stealth check. So yeah, I'm stealthily sneaking into the door, and I see the narrow walkway around a pool of waist-deep, earthy smelling mud. So I know that the gold, or the amulet of vitality, is actually in this mud pit. But I also know that there's some sort of a beast in there that Ogden knew of, but he didn't know what it was. And I think I'm going to try to sneak around and see if I can get a surprise attack on the beast. So my stealth roll is an 8. And with a 16 of dex, so 17 with my +1. So an 8 is a great success. So I think I can come around here, and I see the movements, the undulations in the mud, and I am going to prepare my cold iron greatsword and try to jump down upon this thing and stab it viciously, and getting a surprise. So let's go ahead and take that surprise attack. And I got a 16 on the attack, plus 10, 26. And this is actually one of the changes that I had to make. There wasn't really anything that was close to a clay golem in the Tales of Argosa rule set, so I went with something completely different that I thought would match the scene. So this is a slop gorger, a tentacled beast that kind of cleans up body parts and waste. So he has an AC of 13, and he can do some nasty, nasty stuff. But I hit him, so let's see what kind of damage I do. So we'll roll our d12. I got an 8, plus 3, so that's good. So let's do 11 points of damage to him, which I will just mark on this sheet. And I need to find out how many hit points this guy's got and then roll some initiative. So he has 9 plus 2 hit dice. So there is 16. And 11 is 27. And 15 is 42, plus 2 is 44. If my math's off, I apologize. 44. So 44 hit points, and he's taken 11 already. Now, I need to roll initiative, because we're both aware of this situation. My initiative was a 6, which is a great success. So we're good on that. And we are going to go ahead and prepare for our round. Now, I get 3 attacks because you get an extra one in Lone Wolf mode. That's the solo mode in Tales of Argosa. And whenever I leveled up, that was one of my benefits, was gaining an extra attack. So I am going to raise my mighty cold iron greatsword high above my head and try to swing at this thing to put it away. And I rolled a 2. Awful. But because my first unique feature was signature weapon greatsword, once per adventure I can re-roll my attack with the greatsword. So I'm going to do that. 16. Okay, so 26 after the bonus to hit. So definitely hit. And I got a lousy 2 plus 3 is 5. So 5 more damage. He's taken 16 now of his 44. That was my first attack. I am going to take a second attack. And I got a natural 20. So 20s are criticals in this game. They do max damage, but unfortunately they do not trigger my exploding dice, which I get for my signature weapon. If I'd rolled a 12 on an attack, it would explode. But since it's a crit, I just get max. So we're going to do 12 more damage. Okay, so I believe we're at 28 damage that we've done there. Oh, not 12, 15 actually, because I get my bonus damage too. So we are actually at 31 damage. And that was my second attack. So let's go ahead and take another vicious swing with my greatsword. And a 7 plus my 10 to hit is going to be enough to hit its AC of 13. And let's roll damage. And I got a 10 plus 3. So I am right at, wow. So that's 10, 20, 30, 44. I have just reduced him to 0 hit points with my 3 swings. Doesn't always work like that, but we're okay that it did in this case. because we've got a lot more stuff that we're going to have to deal with and don't really want to um, deal with taking any more damage than what we have to. So I am going to go ahead and claim my victory prize there. I'm going to use my detection skill to see if I can find this amulet that Ogden told me was in this room. So I got a 9. My perception is a 16. So I think I find the amulet. So I've got the amulet of vitality now, and I'm covered in mud. The mud feels very rejuvenating. The amulet, it seems, has given this mud some healing qualities. So I'm going to make my way out, kind of try to knock off some of the mud as best I can to leave as little of a trace as I can, though I'm sure I'm going to leave some footprints if people look closely now. Now I do know in this next room there is some treasure. Did Ogden know about the trap in this room? And, well, more importantly, did Ogden tell me about the trap in this room? Okay, so I got a yes, a no, but the tiebreaker was a no, and I got a complication. So no, he didn't tell me about this, and I don't notice it until it's too late because of that complication. I'm not even going to give myself a perception roll or anything. I see the treasure and I just want to scoop it all up. So I start going for the gold, and the floor plate is going to fall out. Now this is, let me do a little bit of a description of the room here. This is called the Hall of Offerings. It's a cavernous, silent hall of reflective black slate. A giant brass idol right there. A meditating elephant man sits in the south alcove. Dozens of guttering candles are melted to it. 100 gold pieces are scattered haphazardly around its base. That's right here. So I try to start collecting those gold pieces, and the plate dislodges and the trap has been sprung. Now I get a dex-based save, so my luck is down to a 13 now. So I am going to roll, I need a 15 or less because I've got a +2 bonus for my 16 dexterity. So 15 or less. And I got a 19. I am going to use one of my 5 rerolls, and hopefully I get a 15 or less. Otherwise, this could be a very short adventure. Well, it didn't go in the dice tray. Okay, so I got a 14. So I did just narrowly leap back. But knowing that this trap door actually has a slide that leads into the mud pit in room 10, I need to ask the Oracle, do the cultists in that room hear or notice anything falling through that pit? I would presume that these gold pieces at least would have fallen through. Oh yeah, 3 yeses and a complication. So, with that, we know that they are aware of someone's presence and that that trap has been sprung. So with that, I am going to go ahead and draw a couple of cards from the deck. We'll get a couple of words here. So, for a verb, scribe, and for a noun, actually, this is not really a noun. So I guess this is the, oh, scribe is actually the noun in this case. So it's like describing someone. And then, so helping, scribe. So the verb would be helping and scribe would be the noun. So helping scribe, and it's a complication. So, okay. I know that these cultists, not Yorick, but I as the player, know that these cultists are trying to summon a beast, and they know that their ritual could very well be interrupted here. So I think helping Scribe means that they're going to, at all costs, try to complete this ritual. So I don't have any time to waste. I'm going to have to jump down this chute and hope for the best anyways, even though I just made my save and used a reroll to do it to avoid going down that same chute. So I am going to put my sword on my back and leap down the pit. And it takes me into this mud pit in room 10. And there's only 4 in the written adventure. I've got 5 out here. Let's go ahead and take one of those out. 4 cultists. And one of them is holding the Jewel of Alcala, which is that one right there. And they are trying to complete this ritual. I need to stop them. So after I've jumped down this pit, I think we need to roll initiative. I got an 11, so I do make my initiative roll. I'm going to go before them. And I am going to try to utilize a great exploit, which is going to require a luck roll. But I guess I don't declare that till after I've had my successful attack. So let's roll that back, but that's my plan if I can hit. So I am going to try to swing my sword at this guy and then make a big sweeping motion to hit her as well. Just a big whirlwind attack for those Diablo 2 fans. So let's roll our attack. And I got a 13 plus 10 is a 23. So that's definitely going to hit. So let's go ahead and try our luck. No pun intended. And we're going to make this a dexterity check, because I think it takes some dexterity to aim this wide arcing sweep and hit both of them appropriately. So I'm going to need to roll a 15 or less. Oh, you know what? Actually, I didn't lower my luck. I needed a 14 or less. So I am going to use another reroll. Now I'll have 3 left to try to get this great exploit to work. So I got a 4. So that does work. So I'm going to hit both with my mighty swing with my great exploit. And let's see how much damage I do to them. So I've got a 9 plus 3 is 12 damage to each of them. These cultists are only 1 hit dice, so they're just basically normal people. They're not the big bads in this adventure. So they're both killed instantly. So we'll go ahead and place them with my other kill here. Now, that was my first attack, because I used my great exploit to hit 2 with 1 attack. So now I am going to swing back around and try to hit this one here. And a 3 plus 10 is 13. Their AC is 11, so I've hit. Whoop, fell out. 7, 10 damage. Okay, so that cultist is dead, and I've got 1 more attack left. So let's go ahead and try to finish off the last one with a natural 19. Okay, I'm probably assured that I am going to do enough damage to kill this guy, but I want to see what the natural 19 effect is, because that is one of the most fun aspects of this game. So my greatsword has a d8 plus 4 on the blade trauma roll. So I roll a 2 plus 4 is 6. Sliced nose. The target loses their olfactory sense and 1 to 3 charisma until healed. They can make a dex luck save to have the nose just split. But since they're going to die, it's not going to matter much anyways. So 3, it's 6. They might not die. It's 6 damage. Let's see how many hit points they've got. Nope, they're dead. Yep, they're dead. As I expected.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
So we've just walked in there and just slaughtered the cultists. But let's ask the Oracle. Does that alert the Necromancer to what's going on? Because he's been watching this whole thing through crystal ball in this room across the way. He's been kind of guiding this ritual. No, 3 no's and a complication. No, the Necromancer definitely is distracted at the moment, but it's a complication. So I think I know what the complication is. I think that the undead mammoth has gotten out, and that's what's distracted him, and he is no longer in his room. So it is still not good for me, but the undead mammoth is wandering the halls. Something has released the gates. My guess would be that there was a guard that was in the dungeon somewhere else, and they opened one of the doors that created the trap that released the mammoth. So now there is an undead mammoth running up and down the hallways.
Oh, you better be joking.
So I am going to grab the Jewel of Alcala. That's what we came here for, right? And if I were just a lousy thief, I might just try to escape and get away right now. But I want to try to save these people because I've got a reputation to uphold too. So I am going to try to do something with this elephant. And let's go ahead and see which direction the elephant is going. So there is an arrow. It's going that way. So I think probably, yeah, there was a guard here that opened this door. He heard the ruckus. He was in this little kind of chapel area. He heard the ruckus. He opened the door. It opened the gates, and the elephant crushed him. So I am going to take advantage of that, and I am going to try to sneak up on the elephant. And I am definitely sneaky. So, not that you have to be super sneaky to sneak up on an undead mammoth, but I did. So, this one's going to be a little bit more complicated. The war mammoth, or the undead mammoth, has 11 hit dice. So let's get out some d8s. I don't know if I got any more in there. Yeah, there's one. So here's 5. So we got 12, 24, 25, and 30, 35, 41, and 43, and 3 extra is 46. I did not roll well for that. He has 2 hit dice and 1 pip more hit points than the slop gorger, but he ended up with just 2 more hit points. That's okay. So we need to roll. Actually, no, we rolled for stealth, so I get a surprise attack on him. And I get a 7 plus 10 is 17. He has an AC of 13, so that part's good for me. So I am going to hit with my surprise attack. And got a 2, so I did 5 points of damage to him. I swing, but not used to swinging at skeletons, and definitely not elephant skeletons, so I don't hit a good meaty chunk like I'm used to when I'm attacking things. Doesn't do much damage. Now, let's roll initiative. So I got a 6, so I am still going to be going first. And I am going to try to swing on this thing with my great sword. Think that is going to be my best bet here. I may dodge with one of my actions. That might not be a bad idea. That would give me disadvantage on his attacks against me. So I think maybe that is where I'm going to go. Maybe 2 attacks and then a dodge. So with my first attack, I'm going to swing my mighty greatsword. And I got a natural 19 again.
You know something? This is like the luck of the Irish, only I'm not Irish, so you figure it out.
Now, we'll see if this applies based on the type of creature that it is. It's undead, so some of these aren't going to apply to it. So I got a 5 plus, let's see, is it 4? Yep, so 9. Bleeding out. Loses 2 to 6 hit points at the start of the target's turn for each round. Well, obviously you can't make a skeletal mammoth bleed out, so I hit it right where I would a normal foe and would have cut some major artery, I'm sure, but it doesn't have any, so I'm just going to do some damage. And so I did 9 plus 3 is 12 points of damage to it. Okay, so it's taken 17 damage now. Now I'll take my second attack, and on the backswing, let's see what happens. And I got a 5 plus 10 is a 15. That's going to hit again. It'd be nice if I exploded my dice here. Ah, not quite. So I did 13 more damage, though. So we have now done 30 points of damage to this thing, and it hasn't even gotten to attack us yet. You know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to use that dodge like I'd planned on. Let's just attack the thing again. I hit. Let's see how much damage I do. 3 and 3 is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 36 damage. It's got 10 hit points left. Now, if it were a living creature, I have an ability called Killer Instinct that if I lower something to 9 hit points or less, it just automatically dies. That wouldn't apply here anyways, because he's already dead. So let's give the undead mammoth its chance to gorge me. So it's going to attack me, and it gets a 19. That's definitely going to hit. So it's going to do some major damage. I, by the way, am going to say I don't know how to use this Amulet of Vitality, so not going to be able to heal. 11 and 3 is 14 damage that I take. Yikes. So I've taken 14 damage. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, no. Actually, I take 16. Got plus 2. Okay, so 16 damage. And this thing is looking very, very mean. And it's not even the boss. It's the highest hit dice in this adventure, but it's not the boss. And I think there's a good possibility that by now the Necromancer has used his skeleton servant to open the door that I'm standing in front of, and he's going to get to act this next turn as well. Am I right? Yeah, so 2 no's. Yes would be the tiebreaker, but the 2 no's outweigh the yes. So I'm not right. He's not going to open the door with his skeletal companion, but there's a complication. I think the complication is it's because he's going to open the door himself. So we're going to say that. And now we need to roll initiative. I did have to make some adjustments to my character sheet because I hadn't updated my initiative whenever I increased my dexterity. Initiative is actually an average of your dexterity and intelligence. So my initiative is now a 13. So there's that. Now, let's roll some initiative, see what happens. A 20. Oh my. I think that means, because this is basically the worst I could have gotten in this case. I think I am so shocked as that door swings open that the sorcerer, the necromancer is there. I think that I'm surprised, and both the necromancer and the mammoth are going to get a free attack on me. One thing I didn't do when the mammoth attacked me was roll this, which could have gotten me a free attack back at him, but we'll do that next time. So the necromancer is going to go first, and he is going to cast a hell blast on me, which is basically like a fireball. And so we've got, he's a 5-hit die, but he's got double hit points, but he's a 5-hit die creature, so he does 5d6 damage, and I can do a save for half. So we've got 3, 9, 12, 15. I guess I need to roll this to make sure the spell goes off. So it'll do 15 damage as long as he passes his check. And he does. He passes it quite easily. And I think I still need to roll Dark and Dangerous Magic for him. And we're going to roll with it that way. If I'm wrong, tell me about it in the comments. He's a level 5, so that's a D10. And let's see. Nope, he's good. And now his Dark and Dangerous Magic goes up to a 2. And so 15 damage. But I can attempt to make a save, a dex save. I made it. So I'm going to take 8 damage. We'll round up. Okay, so now we have taken 24 of my 39 damage. So we were looking great, and all of a sudden, not so great. I'm going to have to remember to roll that die when I get hit from now on. Okay, so the mammoth is going to take his attack on me. Try to gore me again. A 2 plus 11. That's a 13. I've got a 16 AC, so he misses outright. So we're good there. Let's roll some hit points for the necromancer, and just know that whatever I roll is going to get doubled because he's the boss. Okay. So 10, 16, 18, 26. So he's got 52 hit points. Yikes. Okay. Also, he is supposed to get, because he's a boss, he's supposed to get attacks on the off turns. If you had multiple characters, like in a party, the boss gets to attack between each other characters' attack. But since there's just one of me, he doesn't get that in this case. So let's go ahead and do the rest of the round. We're going to do a regular initiative now. They got their surprise attack on me. Now initiative. 17. Oh my goodness. I'm going to use a reroll. I'm going to try my luck. I'm going to have to get a great success to go before the necromancer, but I'd like to at least go before the elephant. A 10. Okay. So I'm going to go before the elephant, but after the necromancer. So he is going to have some decisions to make. He could cast Hellblast again. He could try to hold me. Yeah, I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to try to cast crush the warp on me, to hold me in place so that the mammoth can just destroy me right there. So he is going to try to cast a spell, and he makes his roll, and then I get a chance for a save. It's going to be luck strength. I did need to lower my luck again because I'd made my dex save last time. So I'm down to an 11. But since it's strength, I get a +3, so I need a 14 or less on this roll. A natural 20. Yeah, we're going to use a reroll on that. Yikes. So let's do that. Okay, so we make our save, so we're not held. So that's good. Now let's roll Dark and Dangerous Magic for him. See if that might backfire. Maybe he's caught the attention of some evil outer being. Oh, he's got a 1. He did. He got Dark and Dangerous Magic. So let's see what happens on the Dark and Dangerous Magic table. This might be what we needed to turn the tides, so to speak, here. So, Dark and Dangerous Magic. D100. So, we'll say the black die is first, since this is Dark and Dangerous. 65. Hollow. You are never hungry or thirsty and cannot abide food or drink. Even the smell makes you nauseous.
We were robbed!
This lasts for 1 to 12 months. So he's not going to be able to enjoy food, but I have a feeling if he's still here in 1 to 12 months, we're not going to be, so it ain't going to matter much to us. So, wah-wah, kind of a lousy Dark and Dangerous Magic effect. Hey, what are you going to do? So, I am now going to try to finish off this crazy mammoth with my first attack. Okay, I hit, and I did 13 damage, and let's see, we got 20, 35. Yep, I did enough to destroy the skeletal mammoth. He is now destroyed. That was my first attack, and after I swing through that, I turn to the Necromancer with menace in my eyes, and I bring my sword to bear against him, and I get a 6. Alright, so that's a 16. He's got an AC of 12, but I think he has precast his Aegis. So his Arcane Aegis gives him a +1 to his AC. 13. He's still not going to be high enough AC to dodge my attack. But if I roll well, he can let that Aegis absorb the attack. So we'll see what happens. So 8 damage. Yeah, he's going to just let the Aegis take the damage. So his shield breaks as the mystical energies absorb my blade. And then I've got one more attack left. Let's see what happens. A 17, so 27. And boy, it'd be nice to get an exploding die here. No, 7 points of damage. All right. So we got 7 points of damage on the sorcerer. Now, he's gone. I've gone. It is now time for a new round. Let's roll some initiative. Oh, and I got a great success. I need a 6 or less to get a great success, so I am going first. This may be what I needed, because I am hurt badly. I am bloodied, as they would say. So I am going to keep trying to push him back with my attacks. And 17 is going to hit. He no longer has his Aegis up. 7 points damage, so he's taking 14 now. And I can't really do exploits against him until I've got him bloodied, because he's a boss. I can't just try to blind him or anything with my regular attacks. Though I could use my Star Flail to do that, to blind him. Let's see what happens, though. I think that perhaps his skeletal companion is up here by now too. So let's 17, that's a hit. My second one, 11 points of damage. So he's taken 25 now, still not bloodied yet. And with my third and final attack, I will swing my sword again. And a 12, awesome. That's an exploding die. So 16 plus 3, I did 19 points of damage to him. That is going to help. So he's taking 44 hit points of damage now. That is pretty phenomenal. So I think he's going to use his maneuver to kind of back away without drawing my my attack of opportunity, as it were. He's going to be very careful and use his skeleton to absorb any attack from me. And so he's used his action to carefully back away. If he just moved away, then I would have gotten a free attack. But I'm saying he's taken his whole action to move away to avoid that. So the skeleton is going to attack me. And it's got a 13 plus 1, 14. It misses me. Okay. So I was kind of hoping it hit me, because then I get to roll this guy. And if I roll a skull, I get a free attack on him. And if I roll a sun, I dodge the attack. Unfortunately, I don't get that against spells, as far as I know. So that was the turn again. So let's roll initiative again. And I am going to be going last. And I think he's going to have this skeleton join us, calling it from the other room. And so we'll say that he is actually going to spend his turn to go in the other room, and perhaps he is going to kind of bar the door and try to live to see another day. Necromancers aren't known for their bravery. You know, let's go ahead and roll a morale check for him. 1. No, he is not scared at all. I apologize. This is the rare brave necromancer. So he's gone to the other room. I don't know why, but it wasn't because he's afraid of me. So skeletons are going first. First one attacks me, misses. Second one attacks me, crit. Okay, I get to roll to see what happens here. Nothing. So he's going to do max damage to me. So he's going to do 7 points of damage. So I've taken 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 31 points of damage of my 39 available. So let's go ahead and take my actions. I am going to attack the skeleton in front of me, and maybe we'll do an exploit here. So 13, 3 plus 10, so I do hit. I'm going to try a great exploit, and we're going to do another whirlwind attack. So try to dex here. So I need a 13 or less. A 2, okay. So I'm down to 10 luck. I've lost another luck. But I'm going to hit both of these guys with my great exploit, with my whirlwind attack in one attack roll. So 12 points of damage, which is going to be enough to kill or destroy them. They're already dead, since they are only 1 hit die. So that was only 1 action. So now I can move, and I think what I am going to do is I can't let this necromancer live. So I am going to leap up here on this, kick off his little sacrificial bowl here, spilling the blood on the floor. And there are trails of blood that are running down from the ceiling. As I look up, I see the Ivory Maiden, which is like an Iron Maiden but made out of ivory, and there's a corpse inside of it, and the blood is drawn down from the ceiling, and it's trickling into this pool, and in the pool there is something shiny, and that shiny is a ruby worth 120 gold pieces. So that's another one of those. So that's my second action. And my third, I will extend my movement to the door. Now, I can try a great exploit against the boss now because he is definitely bloodied. He only has a few hit points left. And I think what he did in that other room was try to cast his Aegis again, his shield. Let's see if he's successful. 2. Yeah, he's great success. So he actually gets a +2 to his AC with his Aegis now. He's prepared for me. So let's go ahead and roll initiative again. 1. Great success. Doesn't get any greater than that. I'm going first. I am determined to kill this guy. So I kick in the door and stand before the Necromancer with his freshly cast Aegis. I guess I do need to see if Dark and Dangerous Magic happened when he casts at 10. No, it does not. So my first action is going to be to swing my mighty Cold Iron Greatsword at him. 18, that's 28. That's going to hit. Let's roll damage. Okay, so we did 8 points of damage to him, which is exactly 52. So, technically, he should have been dead from my killer instinct earlier, but I think the boss should be immune to that, so we're going to make that call. So, I'm in this room. I know that he was kind of guiding the ritual from here. I see his crystal ball up on his shelf. I see his periapt and elixirs. I see his book. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab his grimoire and throw it in my satchel, and then I'm going to make my way towards the exit, try to get these poor commoners out of here. So let me go ahead and ask, are there any other enemies left in this dungeon? Double no with the tiebreaker on no. No complication or opportunity. So I think that I can make my way out with my book, and I'm bleeding all over. I'm covered. I'm singed from being blasted with fire. I'm bloodied from being gored by the giant skeletal mammoth. I come back carrying a piece of the tusk of the giant skeletal mammoth.
I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger.
And going to try to convince these commoners who are kind of under the effects of the incense to come with me. And so I'm going to have to make a persuasion check. So I am trained in persuasion. So my charisma is an 11. I'm going to need a 12 or less. And I got a 12 exactly. So they're not totally convinced, but they're pretty well going to go along with anybody right at this point. So we are going to lead them out of the Sanctum of the Elephant God. And we are all going to live to fight another day. And that was a successful Tales of Argosa game. All right, so that was another successful Tales of Argosa solo playthrough using their Lone Wolf rules set. Now, this just goes to show you how flexible and versatile this game system is. I mean, the last time I used the Conan board game by Monolith, this time I used Shadow Dark, and I was able to have a really compelling, enjoyable experience playing both. And this is solo. It's a pretty incredible system. I love the dice, I love the Oracle, love the way that the classes are built, the way that the enemies work, love the natural 19 effects. This is a really good game. You should check this out. If you haven't watched my other Tales of Argosa videos yet, there should be maybe a tag up there that you can click on to go watch them. And until next time, this has been Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards. Good gaming, and God bless.